गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत नः शृण्वन्नोतिभिस्सेदसादनम् ॐ महागणपतये नमः। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतम् भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। ॐ नमः शिवाय। 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 हर नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि अथ योगानुशासनम् योगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः तदा द्रष्टुस्वरूपेव स्थानम् वृत्तिसारूप्यमितरत्र वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टाः प्रमाणविपर्ययविकल्पनिद्रास्मृतयः प्रत्यक्षानुमानागमाः प्रमाणानि विपर्ययो मिथ्याज्ञानमतद्रूपप्रतिष्ठम् शब्दज्ञानानुपाती वस्तुशून्यो विकल्पः अभावप्रत्ययालम्बनावृत्तिर्निद्रा अनुभूतविषया सम्प्रमोषस्मृतिः अभ्यासवैराग्याभ्यां तन्निरोधः तत्र स्थितौ यत्नोऽभ्यासः स तु दीर्घकालनैरन्तर्यसत्कारासेवितो दृढभूमिः दृष्टानुश्रविकविषयवितृष्णस्य वशीकारसंज्ञा वैराग्यम् तत्परं पुरुषख्यातिर्गुणवैतृष्ण्यम् वितर्कविचारानन्दास्मितारूपानुगमात् सम्प्रज्ञातः वितर्कविचारानन्दास्मितारूपानुगमात् सम्प्रज्ञातः विरामप्रत्ययाभ्यासपूर्वः संस्कारशेषोऽन्यः विरामप्रत्ययाभ्यासपूर्वः संस्कारशेषोऽन्यः So abhyas and vairagya are the means by which we can achieve chitta vritti nirodha. And that abhyas, first of vitarka vichara ananda asmitanurupanugamat samprajnatah, leads to that state of samprajna samadhi, which asmitanugamat samprajna samadhi culminates in that vivekhyati and also gives rise to that param vairagya. And with this param vairagya, one reaches that state of asamprajna samadhi, wherein the constant abhyas of this Param Vairagya is there, and only the samskar of that remains in asampradnyat samadhi. So samskara sheshah anyaha. So these are the two main what you call stages, sampradnyat and then asampradnyat. And asampradnyat leads to the final kaivalya avastha. So this four types of sampradnyat samadhi, starting from the gross vitarka, then coming to the subtler level vichara, then further to ananda, and finally to asmita. So these are the subtler levels of prakriti, and it is like going from tamogun to rajogun to sattvagun, sattvic. And in that asmita anugamat, the chitta becomes completely sattvic, and one gains the what you call pradnya of the difference between the drashta and the chitta, or purusha and the chitta. So, just like in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked question to Bhagwan that those who follow this path of yoga, and suppose they don't attain the final goal of Kaivalya Avastha, and they die, then what happens to them? Do they start from the scratch again? Or do they they are lost in between, like the clouds, neither here nor there? So what happens to them? So that is now explained in the following sutra. So let us chant 19th sutra. Bhava pratyayo videha prakritilayanam. Bhava pratyayo videha prakritilayanam. Bhava pratyayo. Yeah, the meaning of that word bhava pratyayo means, bhava means from their birth itself. From their birth itself, there is knowledge. Pratyaya means here knowledge. Knowledge of what? Of that previous their sadhana, and they continue on their path towards the asampradnyat samadhi. Who? Videha and prakriti layana. Those who are videha and those who are prakriti laya. These are technical words. Videha and prakriti laya. Videha literally means free of body, and prakriti laya means one who has become one with that prakriti. What it means is that those who follow this sampradnyat samadhi, there are four levels. One is the vitarka, then vichara, then anandanugamat, and asmitanugamat. Each of this layer gives makes up, or the person goes at a higher and higher level of spiritual evolution, and it gives great joy and great peace. So when we transcend the Mahabhut, we come to and when we practice the Vicharanugamat, we start enjoying the subtler level of this cosmos. But still, there is identification with our individuality and all. But then when we transcend this and come at the level of this Anandanugamat, Sampradnyat Samadhi, there is an experience of Ananda and peace. And since one has reached this higher level, there is total detachment from the gross physical body and even the senses. So when such a person who has reached this level of Anandanugamat Samadhi, one who has got established in it, such a person is called Videha. Videha because he or she has become free of the attachment to the body. Videha. Yeah. And it gives great joy. But those who develop vairagya towards that videha avastha also and rises further and practices asmitanugamat samadhi and get established in it, they are called prakriti laya. At that level, they are called prakriti laya. And when here also they experience great joy. So those who remain attached to these two levels of samadhi at Anandanugamat and Asmitanugamat, and they die, then such yogis, they experience a state of great joy and peace for a long time without their body. They, they experience a state of great peace and joy for a long time, and then, but still they have not attained the Kaivalya Avastha, so they are not liberated, so they are again born in this world. So such yogis who are born from the state of Anandanugamat and also from Asmitanugamat, they are called Videha Prakriti Laya. They are those who have attained that state and are now born again. So these yogis, they are also in Gita, they are called Yoga Bhrashta. So these yogis who are born again, they, from their birth itself, they are at a higher stage. No attachment for the body, no attachment for the worldly pleasures, because they had done the sadhana in their previous life and had reached the state of Anandanugamat and Asmitanugamat Samadhi, Sampradnya Samadhi. So right from their birth, they are motivated towards this, moving toward this asampradnya samadhi. So bhava pratyaya videha prakriti layana. For them, right from their birth, it becomes easy to move in their sadhana towards asampradnya samadhi. One gets stuck in these layers if we are attached to them. If we think that we have reached, that we don't want to go further, one gets stuck. Because of lack of vairagya, one gets stuck. Or because of lack of abhyasa, one gets stuck. In Gita also, Bhagavan had mentioned abhyas and vairagya, but those who their abhyas and vairagya is not complete or not steady, then one gets stuck at these layers and enjoy a long period of bliss in some other level and are born again. So here the Rishi is mentioning, because he had mentioned the asampradnya samadhi in the previous sutra, that asampradnya samadhi is easily attained by those who are videha and prakriti laya. Those who have attained this stage in their previous life, for them to continue and with their sadhana, and to attain the asampradnyat samadhi is easy. So bhava pratyaya videha prakriti layana. And we see such examples in this world. There were great Mahatmas, great saints. Right from their childhood, they show great development in their spiritual life. And immediately they progress to reach the highest state of asampradnyat samadhi. But others who have not done any sadhana, or those who have only done sadhana of vitarka and vicharanugamat sampradnyat samadhi. See, now all of you have become expert to at least understand these terms. Huh? So when you go home, you can flesh it out to others also. That is a different story. So those who have followed their sadhana of only vitarka and vichara and not gone ahead, for them to reach the state of asampradnyata, special effort have to be put forth. And even those who have not even started, for them also special effort. So what is the special effort which others have to put forth to reach the state of asampradnyat samadhi is now said in the next sutra. Shraddha Virya Smriti Samadhi Prajnapurvaka Itareshaam Shraddha Virya Smriti Samadhi Prajnapurvaka Itareshaam. For Itareshaam, for others, those who have not practiced, because our spiritual journey is not of one lifetime itself. It takes many lifetimes. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. In Bhagavad Gita also Bhagavan says after many lifetime, person becomes jnanavan and then completely surrenders to me. So those who have been following this path of yoga, spirituality, and reached a higher state, they can continue from where they left. And others who are at a lower stage, they have to put forth special effort to gain progress in their sadhana. So Itaresham, for others, what are the things required? Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna. These 5 things. So with the help of these 5, Purvaka, Itaresham, others, they attain the state of Sampradnyat Samadhi, and then that leads to Asampradnyat Samadhi. So what is Shraddha? Shraddha is faith. Faith in what? Faith in the yoga marga. After listening to an acharya and studying the yoga path, one develops that faith. That faith is very important, because without faith we don't move in an unknown direction. In order to move on an unknown path, we require faith. See, in the world also, if we don't know properly where we are going, what and all, we don't. So many questions we ask, even if we want to come for the camp and all. कहाँ जाना है, कहाँ रहना है, क्या खाना है, क्या पीना है, किससे झगड़ना है. So all this, when it is properly explained, then we say, that's a good idea. Hmm. So Shraddha in the yogic scriptures and yogic path and the yogic goal, after listening to the teacher, after contemplating, we should develop that intense faith in that yes, this will take me to my goal. Without faith, गाड़ी आगे नहीं बढ़ती है. We might sometimes understand it, but if that faith is not there, then we doesn't move. Even if we are sick and we go to a doctor, he gives us some medicine. If we don't have faith in that doctor and faith in that medicine, we will not take it. Hmm? Suppose you are not well and almost dying and all, and some doctor is there who looks so deadly, like a gunda only. He has patch on his one eye. Hmm? And having long hair and tied and all, and marks of some his on his, and he removes some very dirty looking bottle, and then he takes out some pills which are very dangerous. He says, "ये ले लो, ठीक हो जाएंगे," and I tell you, you will not take it. You say, "बाबा, ये तो dangerous लगता है." So faith is required. Similarly, on this path, we should have faith in the teacher, faith in the scripture, faith in the path shown by the scriptures, faith in ourselves. Then we can move on this journey. So that Shraddha is required to begin. Then comes Virya. Virya is also very important. Virya is effort or what you call enthusiasm to follow the path. More the faith, more the enthusiasm will come. Excitement will be there, enthusiasm will be there. We'll put forth effort in this direction and do our sadhana. So virya is also very important. So Shraddha gives rise to virya. And with that virya, when we do our sadhana, and here the sadhana is going on this subtler journey from the gross to the subtle to that subtlest and then beyond and abiding in our own self. So when we begin this journey with great enthusiasm, then what happens? We start remembering and connecting to all the sadhana which we have done in our past, not only in this life but previous life. That's called smriti. It's very interesting. If just generally if we are told what sadhana you might have done in past, you will not even know. But when we start doing some sadhana, we start getting connected to the sadhanas which we have done in our past. If we have attained a higher level, then that smriti comes immediately. It doesn't take much time. If one has reached the Anandanugat and Asmitanugat, then we get connected to our previous knowledge instantly with less effort. But otherwise, it requires more effort. So we continue in that sadhana, and then we start feeling that something is just easier. It's like the duck taking to water. Some people will find it very, very easy. Things are coming just like that, flashes of lightning coming, and things are becoming more and more clear just automatically, as though one has studied this before, and which is fact. That is called smriti. So those type of thoughts and those type of memory and knowledge will all come, which will be helpful for my sadhana, which will connect me to the sadhana which I have done in my past. So that happens when with utsaha, with lot of enthusiasm, I do my sadhana, I get connected to my previous. It's like suppose you have learned cycling in your childhood and you don't do it later on. Then later on in your life, your children or someone tells you, "Oh, why don't you try?" You say, "No, no, कितने बहुत साल हो गए मैंने नहीं किया है." But then you try, very scared and all. But after few minutes or maybe few hours, sometimes you are totally at ease. Similarly, here at least you will remember that you have done some cycling in your childhood. Here you might not remember the sadhana, but you get tuned to it and the journey begins. So that smriti, memory of the past experiences which we had or the state which we have reached comes and we get connected. And thus with virya, with shraddha, with smriti, when we continue with our sadhana, it leads us to samadhi. That samadhi is the sampradnya samadhi. From vitarka we rise to vichara, from vichara we rise to the level of anandanugamat, and from there to asmitanugamat. And when it is practiced with sincerity, when we get established in this asmitanugamat, then what happens? Pradnya, understanding, knowledge arises of the bheda of chitta and purusha. That is vivekhyati happens. Ritambhara pradnya arises and one comes to understand the difference between purusha and chitta. And once that happens, this vivekhyati takes place, then one gains that param vairagya and one becomes detached from even this vivekhyati vritti. That also gets dropped and one reaches the state of asampradnyat samadhi. And from there one continues and attains that kaivalya avastha. So for others, they have to put forth effort through shraddha, virya, smriti, samadhi and pradnya purvaka. But those who are videha and prakriti laya, for them right from their childhood they get connected to their previous sadhana and continue on their journey till they reach the asampradnyat samadhi and kaivalya avastha. Further, the teacher says, in this also, shraddha, virya, smriti, samadhi, pradnya, purvaka, there are differences in different seekers. They deal with it differently and they attain the goal at different, in different, what you call time. What are the differences? In the next sutra says, तीव्र संवेगानां आसन्नः तीव्र संवेगानां आसन्नः. हाँ, तीव्र संवेग. तीव्र संवेग intense, with intense intensity, tivra, with intense desire or with intense enthusiasm, those who follow this path, for them the goal is attained instantly or immediately or within short time. So the difference between one seeker and another seeker is the intensity then. Two seekers may be at the same level of their spiritual evolution, but the one who has got that intensity reaches the goal quickly, but one who is lethargic, slow, will reach late. Yet intensity is required. Like one seeker, he asked the teacher that how much intense should be to attain the goal. Teacher was taking a dip in Gangaji. And that time the seeker asked him the question. So teacher grabbed him by his neck and pushed him under the water. Some teachers are quite powerful and dangerous also. So grabbed him and pushed him inside and kept him for some time. So that fellow struggling like anything. He did not know what happened. I just asked a simple question and he's trying to kill me. So he held him for some time, then released him in water itself, and that fellow came out with total stunned and all, looked at teacher with so much of anger and confused, like that I just asked this question. If you don't know the answer, you just say. Don't have to be so rough. But he had great respect and faith, so he just looked at his teacher. So the teacher asked him that what were you thinking when you were inside the water? He said, I had no other thought. I just wanted to come out of that water. He said, did you look around to see what fish are there and how the water is and what is happening around? He says, no. I had that intense desire to come out of that water and breathe fresh air. He said, that much intensity, if you have to attain this goal, then you will attain it very fast. If you don't have that intensity, then chalta hai. If your agenda has got other items in it, then it will go on and on. If not one lifetime, many lifetimes. It will go on. And in other lifetime, we don't know what other facilities and what situations will be there. So it will go on. So tivra, so purpose, it is very important that the Rishi has given one sutra for this. As I said, that in sutra writing, they are very, very careful about using even one extra letter. But here, the entire sutra is given to show that we should have intensity to reach this state. So, tivra samveganam asannaha. See, there are two things. Like one is we put forth effort. We put forth effort, and when we have this intensity, then there is also pull from the Supreme. There is pull. One is push, another is pull. That if we put forth effort, we are moving towards the goal. But when that intensity is there, then it is as though the goal is pulling us towards itself. You must have experienced this in other occasions in life. You are told to go somewhere to meet someone and all. If you don't want to meet that person, there is effort in going towards that place. Why person? You want to go to school, college, or to your work. The whole effort is from your side only, pushing yourself more and more towards the goal. But if there is some excitement is happening there, some party, some important function, someone is coming, this, that, some excitement, then there is pull also. Without you knowing, you automatically get dragged towards that place. So that happens through this intensity. If I have that intense desire to attain that state of Kaivalya Avastha, and with that I put forth effort in my Shraddha and Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, then one attains that goal in lesser time. So, Tibra Samveganam Asannaha. So, one is Tibra Samveg. Then again, one more qualification is required, and that is, what is that? That is said in the next words, next sutra. Mrudu madhya adhimatratvat tatopi visheshah. Mrudu madhya adhimatratvat tatopi visheshah. One is that intense desire to attain that goal, and another is that qualification of what you call abhyas and vairagya. Vairagya is the main thing which takes us towards our goal. So here it depends on whether our vairagya is mrudu, means very very halka, very soft, or madhya, mediocre, or adhimatra. Adhimatra means of the topmost level. So depending on the intense, what you call intensity of vairagya, whether it is light or mediocre or more, the speed in which we attain that state of asampradnyat samadhi will be determined. So mrudu madhya adhimatratvat tatopi visheshah. So if it is mrudu, we have intensity and we do put forth effort also, but vairagya, if it is less, if it is just mrudu, then also our gadi doesn't move very fast. If it is madhya, then it moves faster. If it is adhimatra, then it moves faster. So adhimatra vairagya, adhimatra desire to put forth effort means abhyas. Abhyas and vairagya are of highest nature, then we can attain that state of asampradnyat samadhi quickly. If our abhyas and vairagya is of a mediocre level, then it goes slow. And if it is totally of a soft, cool level, how are you? Cool, man. If it is cool level, then that fellow remains at that stage only, cooling his feet. So mrudu madhya adhimatratvat tatopi visheshah. So again, if we go back, the Rishi told us about the sampradnyat samadhi and asampradnyat samadhi. Then this asampradnyat samadhi is attained, one directly gets connected to one sadhana. If one has attained the videha and prakriti laya, they attain it very fast. Then for others, shraddha, virya, smriti, etc. are required, and that too if their effort or abhyas and vairagya is of higher nature, they reach fast. Otherwise, it's very slow. So thus concludes this topic of attaining this asampradnyat samadhi through this path of vitarka vichara ananda and asmita anugamat. Now one question might come, that is this the only way of reaching that state of asampradnyat samadhi, or is there any other way of attaining that? So in the next sutra, which is very famous and very important, the Rishi tells us that there is one more way of attaining that state of asampradnyat samadhi. Ishvara pranidhanadva Ishvara pranidhanatva. So if one wants to attain that asampradnya samadhi quickly, there is another method. Va means or means another method. And what is it? Ishwar pranidhanat. Ishwar pranidhan, literally it means surrendering to Ishvara. By surrendering to Ishvara, one can attain the state of asampradnya samadhi instantly. Like in Gita also, Bhagavan told Arjuna that you follow this path of karma yoga, bhakti, jnana and all, dhyana. But in the end, he told Arjuna that you drop everything and surrender to me. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tva sarva papebhya moksheshyami ma shuchaha. I will release you from all bondage. You surrender to me. So Ishwar Pranidhan, one meaning, is to surrender to Ishvara. One can begin by surrendering our karmas to Ishvara. Then slowly we have to surrender all our attitudes to Ishvara. We should surrender our own ego to Ishvara. So complete surrender to Ishvara. So that also happens from the gross, subtle, and it goes on to the subtle level. Finally, that asmita is also surrendered to Ishvara. Ahankar is surrendered to Ishvara. Mind and jnanendriyas, karmendriyas are surrendered. The world or whatever possessions we have are all offered to that Ishvara. So Ishvara pranidhanat va. This is therefore this in Yoga Sutra we have not only the Dhyana Marga which is indicated here, but Patanjali Rishi also gives us the gist of Karma Yoga, Bhakti, Jnana, all other yogas which we understand now are also hinted in this Yoga Sutra. But Ishwar Pranidhan, when we say, it brings various questions in our mind. One is, who is Ishwara Baba? अचानक ईश्वर कहाँ से आ गए? अभी आप पुरुष कह रहे थे, प्रकृति कह रहे थे, वहाँ तो महत है, अहंकार है. ईश्वर कहाँ से आ गए? Who is Ishvara? Because nowhere on this chart there is Ishvara. Purusha we know. We know means we Prakriti, Mahat is there, Ahankar is there, Mana, Tanmatra, Jnana Indriya, Karmendriya, Mahabhut. Ishvara, who is Ishvara? So in the next sutra, which is again very important, who is Ishvara? What do we mean by Ishvara? Is indicated in that sutra. And what then another question is, what is pranidhan? One meaning of pranidhan, I said that you surrender to Ishvara, offer everything. But exactly what do we mean by pranidhan? That will also be explained in another sutra. So the first is, who is Ishvara? What is his nature? That is being said in the following sutra. Klesha, karma, विपाक आशयैः अपरामृष्टः पुरुषविशेषः ईश्वरः क्लेश कर्म विपाक आशयैः अपरामृष्टः पुरुष विशेषः ईश्वरः. हाँ, ईश्वर is purusha vishesha. Ishvara, the literal meaning of Ishvara means the master, who controls everything. Ishan means to control. Master, the grand master, the grand controller, Ishvara. But who is Ishvara? Purusha Vishesha. Ishvara is also that Purusha only. Purusha himself is Ishvara, but here another term used is Vishesha. We will see what is Vishesha. Special. Vishesh means special. Special Purusha. Acha? Yes. All of us are Purusha only. All of us are Purusha. Including all Stri also is Purusha only. So Stri Purush Bhed is there only at the level of this Mahabhut, which is our body, gross body. But as you dive inside, the Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, same. There is no gender differences. Tanmatras, mana, at the ahankar level, I am. There is no gender there. At mahat level, and then Purusha is one and the same. Only thing is that the Purusha, when he gets reflected or seen through this mahat in individual chitta, that becomes the individual. Yesterday someone was saying jiva, so that becomes the jiva, the individual. The Purusha expressing through chitta, what we call the asmita, ahankar, that is the individual. So as many chitta are there, so many reflections of the Purushas are as though there. It's like the moon reflected in different water bodies. So how many reflections are there? As many those surfaces, reflecting surfaces are there. Sometimes they increase, sometimes decrease, but as many reflecting surfaces are there, so many reflections are there. But how many moons are there? Only one. Moon is only one. But I heard there are two chand, ek upar khila hai, ek niche khila. That is in movies and all. But otherwise there is only one. Moon is only one. Reflections can be many. Similarly, Purusha is one and reflections are many. So those many reflections are like many jivas, many individuals. Now, this Mahat Tattva is at the cosmic level and also at the individual level. But these two levels are there. Cosmic level Mahat Tattva means the totality, and the individuals. All these individuals are also part of the totality only. So the reflection of that Purusha in that Mahat Tattva or Purusha, uh, what you call as a yeah, as substratum or reflection of Purusha in Mahat Tattva is Ishvara, and Purusha in individual Chitta is like Jiva. Hmm. So it's like the screen in the theater also. We have the screen, and on that screen different movies are shown. But whatever be the movies shown, the screen remains white. Right? Sometimes the movie black is shown, sometimes red, blue, green, but the screen remains white. Screen by nature is white. But the individual theaters show different movies. So our individual chitta are like little screens which shows different movies, good, bad, indifferent. But the total that Mahat Tattva is Shuddha Sattva Guna Pradhan. So that Purusha with the Sattva Guna Pradhan Mahat Tattva is what we call Ishvara. Essentially is our own self, is not different. In fact, when one reaches that state of Asmitanugat Sampradnya Samadhi, one identifies with Ishvara without even knowing. One who has reached that stage, it is very subtle. And when that Asmita also gets dropped, one is one with Ishvara only. One is one with Ishvara. So it's a very subtle thing. So why is called Purusha Vishesh? Because the Visheshta is not of the Purusha, Visheshta is of the reflecting medium, not of the Purusha is same. The Jiva and Ishvara is the same Purusha. Only the reflecting medium is different. So therefore, he is called Purusha Vishesha. Now, what other Visheshta is there? Because that Mahat is pure, Sattva Gun Pradhan, and in that Mahat, there is no avidya, there is no all this raga, dvesha, smita and all are not there. So therefore, in Ishvara, all these defects are not there. So he says, klesha, karma, vipaka, ashayahi, aparamrishta. Aparamrishta means untouched, not touched by all this. See, a realized master who has reached that state is also untouched by all this, but he was touched. But Ishvara is one who is untouched, he was untouched, and he will remain untouched at all times. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupaha. So, untouched by klesha. Klesha are those five: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, and abhinivesh. These are the defects of the chitta. And these defects are there in individual. In fact, these defects alone make an individual. When these defects are there, then a person becomes individual. So in that totality, there is no, these defects are not there. Of these panchakleshas are not there. There is no avidya. There is no asmita. There is no raga dvesha. There is no abhinivesh. So in Ishvara's chitta, all these are not there. So klesha. And because klesha is not there, klesha only propels a person into various types of activities. Because of this sorrow, in order to get rid of this sorrow, one performs various types of activities, good, bad, indifferent. So since klesha is not there, karma is also not there in Ishvara. So klesha, karma. And since karma is not there, vipaka is also not there. Vipaka is the result of karma. When the karma becomes pakva, it's called vipaka. So the results come of karma, but those karmas themselves are not there. So vipaka is also not there. And before the karmas become pakva, they remain as samskar. In our chitta, there are samskars. In the chitta, vrittis keep on coming, and all vrittis leave samskar. They leave some samskar. So, those samskar, when they fructify, they give rise to the result. So when I see, let us say I see, here they have kept some flowers. So if I look at this flower, then that vritti arises in the chitta. My eyes see, the mind also is functioning, ahankar is also there. But finally, the vritti arises in the chitta, and it leaves its samskar. Tomorrow when I see this flower, I will say, oh, yesterday I had seen this. That smriti also take place. So all this, every action, everything we perform leaves samskar, which gives rise to result in future. So those samskar are called ashaya. Ashaya. Ashaya means they are sleeping, they are lying down, waiting for the time to come. Ashaya. What we call vasana in Vedanta, they call ashaya. They are sleeping. Ashayaihi aparamrishtaha, untouched by all this, is that Purusha Vishesha Ishvara. To make us understand more clearly, is like a enlightened being. Purusha Vishesh is eternally enlightened being. When one goes into that state of Kaivalya Avastha, all this Purusha and all this concept of Ishvara, Jiva, Jagat, everything disappears. But when we are experiencing ourselves as an individual, then there is that special Purusha simultaneously present. In Upanishad also, Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya. That there are two, as though birds sitting on the same tree. One is enjoying the fruits, one is just observing. So this Vishesh Purusha, our own Supreme Self, which is identified or which is expressing through the totality, is that Ishvara. So, when we do our sadhana, what happens? We are moving slowly, step by step towards Ishvara only. Even those who don't believe in Ishvara, they are going towards Ishvara only. In that state of Asmitanugat Samadhi, we are very close to Ishvara. When we reach that state of Asampradnya Samadhi, we get totally tuned with Ishvara. There is no difference. Only thing this person has, through sadhana, he has reached that state. Ishvara, therefore, there is only one Ishvara. There are no 2, 3, 4 Ishvaras. There is only one Ishvara. But realized masters can be many who reaching that state. It's like the moon. Let us say there is an ocean, and in the entire ocean, the reflection of one moon is there, which is seeing and reflected in the entire ocean. And then there are little reflection in so many waves and all. So Ishvara is Vishesh Purusha. Purusha Visheshaha Klesha Karma Vipaka Ashayaihi Aparamnushtaha, untouched by all this. So when we reach that state of Sampradnyat and Asampradnyat Samadhi, we also become free of all this. Otherwise, a jiva, individual, is touched by all this. Klesha, pancha kleshas are there. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh. And all of them are caused by avidya. So avidya causes asmita. Asmita causes raga, dvesha, which further that abhinivesh comes. And because of this intense raga, dvesha, we perform various types of actions to get rid of sorrow and to acquire joy. It gives us results, it leaves impressions, samskars, and goes on. But that Purusha Vishesha is free from all this at all times. And that is how it is. It's a fact. It is like that only. So klesha karma vipaka ashayaihi aparamrushta. It is like, suppose you start planting trees. So if you plant one tree, there is one tree. Then you plant another one. And you have a big plot in which you keep planting trees. You are only planting trees. After planting many trees, what will happen? It will become a forest. You have not planted forest. You just planted trees. So individual trees are like jiva, but total trees are like forest. Totality. So similarly, the totality of the Prakriti, then Mahat, Ahankar, Tanmatras, and the Purusha identifying or pervading this totality is Ishvara. He expresses completely in that Mahat Tattva, but his presence is there everywhere. So that is Ishvara. And to surrender to that Ishvara is that another sadhana. More about Ishvara is given in the next sutra, and then the what do we mean by pranidhan, that will also be explained. So we'll see in our class tomorrow. पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।